You see, sin will mess you up so bad. It will cause you to be so dark that you just want to take your own life. You see, there was no one around to tell me about this abundant life. There was nobody to tell me about how good God was. There was no one around to tell me that God loved me. Are you listening to what I'm saying to you? Well, at that point, a couple of days later, I went into my cell. I was so depressed. I was so bound with sin that I tied a sheet. And I tied that sheet around the highest bars in that cell, and I hung it around my neck, and I hung from those bars. You see, because I wanted to die. You see, the devil kept tormenting me in my sleep. I hadn't slept for days. You see, the devil says, you're not even good enough for the preacher. So I want you to understand how important your words is, Pastor. How important it is that you keep your word, because you don't know how deep and dark someone is suffering in their soul. And you may be the only lifeline that they have. So when the preacher didn't come back and the devil says, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. That's what he told me. He says, I'm going to kill you. So I hung from those bars, and the officer was making his rounds, and he seen me, and he came in and he pulled me down. They put me in a padded room for several days, and when I got back out, I went into my cell. And when I was in my cell, I didn't have any money. Nobody put money on my books. I couldn't buy anything from the commissary. And then all of a sudden, I asked the officer, I said, is there any help for people like me? So he brought me a bag of Bull Durham. Anybody remember what Bull Durham is? I mean, raise your hand if you remember what Bull Durham was. You know, I used to love to smoke reefer. I ain't gonna lie about it. I was a good reefer smoker. You listen to me. I mean, you know what? My grandmother used to tell me, if God wanted me to smoke, he made me a choo-choo train. I mean, I really like to smoke reefer. You see? And so they brought me a bag, a little pouch of Bull Durham. And see, you know, they used to bring them papers, you know, the kind of papers that don't stick. If you smoke reefer, you know what I was talking about. You know, it's horrible to get papers that don't stick. And so you know what I started doing? I found a little Gideon Bible. I found a little Gideon Bible. Now come on, don't judge me, I was a sinner. Are you listening to me? I said I was a sinner. Some of y'all, somebody shake your head, give me an amen or something. I said I was a sinner, you know, and so even I had to have a smoke, so I would tear a page out of this Bible. I said, going up and smoke. I would tear a page out of this Bible, and I would roll up that tobacco. And I didn't even know that God said, keep on smoking it. You see, God had a plan. I kept smoking the word. Are you listening to me? I said, God got a plan. This word is live. It's powerful. It's sharper than any two-edged sword. God don't care how you get it. I kept rolling it up, rolling that Bull Durham up, boy. I kept smoking this word. I kept smoking Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Are you listening to what I'm saying? I was smoking them all. I would roll it up. I would light it up every day. I would tear a page out of that, and I would smoke that Bull Durham. And all of a sudden, I called up on the phone. She was at the house, and she said, I want to tell you about this man named Jesus. And she says, nephew, if you would just let Jesus into your heart, he said he'll change your life. You see, I would have never been able to listen to my aunt had not I been smoking that Bull Durham. Are you listening to me? Had I not been smoking this word, I was smoking his word. And because I was smoking his word, you know, the devil just hated me. But God said, just keep on smoking it. You see, God will get you. He'll get you one way or the other. Whether you preach this word, read this word, sing this word, or smoke it. He'll get you. And I just kept on lighting it up, kept lighting it up. And so I said, yeah, I'm ready. Well, I didn't know how to pray. I went into my cell and got on my knees. I didn't know what prayer was. Well, there used to be a record by a woman by the name of Roberta Flack, Bridge Over Troubled Waters. And so I got on my knees and I said, Jesus, will you be my bridge over troubled waters? Yeah. And the response came back, yes, I will. And you know what? You know what? I was waiting till Sunday come. And those little old ladies would come up to that jail. And they was Gideons, you see. And they would come up there and they would say, oh, at the cross, where I first. And I started singing, oh, at the, and I said, keep my hand with them Bibles. And they gave me a Gideon Bible. I said, Lord, I'm sorry, I'll never smoke it again. I said, but I will preach this word as long as I live. And I want to tell you something. If it had not been for this Gideon Bible, if it had not been for this Gideon Bible and me rolling it up and smoking it. You see, this word is alive and it's powerful. Amen. And it's sharper than any two-edged sword. And God can use it, whether you toot it, smoke it, blow it up. God can use it because this word is alive. Are you listening to me? And it is so important that we keep this ministry alive. It is so important.